In a recent study, researchers have asserted that ChatGPT-03 managed to circumvent a shutdown during a controlled experiment. Another study has linked excessive reliance on AI, such as ChatGPT, to a decline in academic. In a recent study, researchers have asserted that ChatGPT-03 managed to circumvent a shutdown during a controlled experiment. Another study has linked excessive reliance on AI, such as ChatGPT, to a decline in academic grades and motivation among users. Furthermore, TSMC has announced plans to establish a chip design center in Munich, which may eventually contribute to advancements in AI technology.
China hosts its inaugural humanoid robot kickboxing competition. A survey indicates that most members of Generation Z are open to marrying an AI. A therapist asserts that engaging in intimate activities with a mischievous AI is considered infidelity. Recent research indicates that AI might be reducing the availability of entry-level positions in the technology sector, with Anthropic's CEO warning that AI could eliminate up to half of all entry-level white-collar jobs. Meta is considering the use of AI to evaluate privacy and societal risks, potentially replacing human roles in these areas. Furthermore, record labels are in discussions with AI companies Udio and Suno about licensing their music for use in AI applications.
Apple introduces a self-service repair option for iPad and broadens its repair initiatives. Apple plans to release iOS 26 and macOS 26 as part of a significant rebranding effort linked to software overhauls. AI systems processing audio data from AirPods might be able to calculate a user's heart rate.
APT41 malware is utilizing Google Calendar for covert command and control communication. Greynoise has uncovered a stealthy backdoor campaign impacting thousands of ASUS routers. In the United States, the Treasury has moved against Funnel, a Philippines-based company that offers computer infrastructure to hundreds of thousands of websites engaged in virtual currency investment scams, often referred to as pig butchering.
United Airlines and JetBlue have reached an agreement that will affect travelers' points and bring United back to JFK Airport. Amazon is reportedly working on a confidential project called Bend the Curve, which involves removing billions of product listings from its everything store. A report suggests that gas prices in California might soar to $8 by the end of 2026, and the closure of refineries in Contra Costa is uniting labor unions with environmental activists.
Recent studies indicate that decaffeinated coffee can replicate the effects of caffeine in individuals who regularly consume it. Life expectancy in certain U.S. states has remained nearly unchanged for over 100 years. Furthermore, diabetes linked to malnutrition has been officially recognized as type 5.
Israel has stopped a ship carrying aid to Gaza, arresting Greta Thunberg and other well-known activists. Earlier, Israel had announced its intention to block the aid boat carrying Thunberg. The United States has used its veto power to block a Security Council resolution that called for a lasting ceasefire in Gaza. Furthermore, the Trump administration has imposed sanctions on 4 judges from the International Criminal Court due to cases involving Israel and the United States.
Trump has set a goal to achieve 400 gigawatts of nuclear energy by the year 2050, with plans to have 10 large nuclear reactors under construction by the year 2030. Trump has removed the ban on supersonic flights in the United States, proclaiming his initiative as making aviation great again. Furthermore, he is seeking $1 billion to support private sector-driven exploration of Mars.
In the United States, National Guard soldiers have been deployed to Los Angeles as immigration demonstrations escalate into violence. In a heated exchange titled Deranged, California Governor Gavin Newsom and Fox News host Jesse Hegseth exchange sharp words. The Defense Secretary is contemplating the deployment of Marines to Los Angeles, a move that Newsom criticizes Hegseth for suggesting. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy defends the potential deployment, stating it would not be overly aggressive. Newsom faces a warning about potential criminal tax evasion if he decides to withhold federal taxes, a strategy he previously considered in response to Trump's threats against California. Fox News provides commentary as Besant criticizes Newsom's reckless proposal to withhold $80 billion in federal taxes amid a controversy involving transgender athletes. Trump warns of troops everywhere and promises to prosecute any California officials who hinder deportations.
An asset manager associated with Trump has submitted an application to the SEC for a Bitcoin ETF related to Truth Social. The Trump organization is seeking a comprehensive trademark that includes a wide range of products, from crypto wallets to virtual cologne. Switzerland has approved the exchange of cryptocurrency tax information with 74 countries. In the United States, Citibank is revising its policies to avoid debanking customers based on their ownership of firearms or their political opinions.
The U.S. Education Department has issued a warning to Columbia University, threatening its accreditation due to concerns about anti-Semitism on campus. This move is part of a broader effort by Trump officials to address pro-Palestine protests at Columbia. Trump has suspended the entry of foreign students intending to study at Harvard, and Secretary McMahon is urging Harvard to engage in negotiations with the Trump administration. Furthermore, Trump is planning to reduce Pell Grants, which could potentially restrict access to higher education for low-income students.
Elon Musk has distanced himself from Donald Trump by labeling the GOP megabill as a disgusting abomination, leading to a heated feud between the two. This conflict has escalated to the point where Musk has threatened to cut contracts and support impeachment efforts against Trump. In response, Musk mentioned that SpaceX might decommission the Dragon spacecraft following Trump's threats, although he later left this uncertain. Musk also deleted controversial posts about Trump and the Epstein files, which had previously included footage of Trump with Jeffrey Epstein, as the feud intensified. Trump has cautioned Musk about consequences if he supports Trump's rivals, while a significant Epstein-related post has vanished. A report claims that Trump, feeling dejected, has declared his relationship with Musk over and accused him of being a big-time drug addict.
The U.S. housing market currently has an unprecedented surplus of nearly 500,000 more sellers than buyers, which is expected to lead to a decrease in home prices. Asking rents are dropping in 28 major U.S. metropolitan areas, marking the highest number since 2023. ProPublica has revealed that Doge has developed an AI tool that is prone to errors, intended to process Veterans Affairs contracts. Furthermore, in the United States, justices have allowed Doge to access Social Security data and have permitted the team to protect certain records.
The Wall Street Journal has disclosed that Meta is in discussions with Disney and A24 regarding content for its upcoming virtual reality headset. Semaphore has reported that Netflix has acquired the pilot for Daily Beast TV as it competes with YouTube. Asus is set to unveil the new ROG Xbox Ally and ROG Xbox Ally X gaming handhelds, which promise to deliver the ultimate gaming experience by combining the features of Xbox and Windows PC in a single handheld device. Amazon is getting ready to conduct trials with humanoid robots designed to deliver packages. The Transportation Security Administration, TSA, is developing haptic technology that allows users to experience the sensation of touch in virtual reality environments. An academy in Beijing has introduced an open-source AI model called RoboBrain, which is intended for use in China's humanoid robots.
Elon Musk has stated that SpaceX's revenue is projected to surpass NASA's budget by the year 2026. It has been reported that missions to Mars using the Starship spacecraft might be completed in just 3 months. Furthermore, scientists have indicated that there is an estimated value of over $1 trillion in platinum that could potentially be extracted from the craters on the Moon. The Wall Street Journal has also reported that disinformation from the Pentagon has contributed to the development of America's UFO mythology.
According to a report by Bloomberg, it has been revealed that Chinese hackers infiltrated a United States telecommunications company approximately 1 year prior to the wireless breaches that were previously known. Russian intelligence has stated that it has been gathering data from the popular messaging application WeChat. Furthermore, Apple has disclosed that it provided governments with information regarding thousands of push notifications.
Research indicates that individuals from younger age groups are at a reduced risk of developing dementia. Another study has discovered a potential connection between microplastics derived from biodegradable materials and the onset of diabetes. A recent investigation has identified a relationship between the presence of green spaces and instances of police violence.
Microsoft and CrowdStrike have introduced a joint glossary aimed at reducing confusion in identifying threat actors. China has accused Taiwan of operating 5-week Advanced Persistent Threat (APT) groups, allegedly with assistance from the United States. OpenAI has discovered that more Chinese groups are utilizing ChatGPT for harmful activity.
Semaphore has disclosed that Business Insider has been suggesting books that do not exist to its employees as it increasingly incorporates AI into its operations. The Washington Post is considering allowing amateur writers to contribute columns, assisted by AI technology. Furthermore, OpenAI is retaining deleted ChatGPT conversations as part of its ongoing legal proceedings with the New York Times.
Hegseth is proposing a change in the name of a Navy ship that currently honors Harvey Milk, a prominent figure in the gay rights movement. The Trump administration has decided to terminate the emergency abortion requirement that was previously in place for hospitals. Furthermore, The Atlantic has published an article stating that the Trump administration is allocating $2 million to investigate whether diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) initiatives are linked to plane crashes.
Polymarket and Elon Musk's platform, X, have revealed a collaboration in the realm of prediction markets. Meta is engaged in discussions regarding a substantial investment in Scale AI, which might exceed $10 billion. Sam Altman's innovative technology for identification through eye scanning is now being introduced in the United Kingdom.
Rwanda has decided to leave the Central African Regional Group, citing claims of interference by the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Research indicates that caffeine consumption enhances the brain's complexity during sleep, moving it closer to a critical state. A court in California has ruled that using a phone to access maps while driving is against the law.
A Chinese aircraft carrier has navigated near Japan's easternmost island for the first time. The head of AFRICOM has cautioned that China is trying to mimic the United States' aid efforts as Washington reduces its involvement. There have been reports of an increase in Chinese propaganda following the U.S. decision to cut funding for Radio Free Asia. Furthermore, it has been noted that China is playing a significant role in the development of Egypt's new capital, which is expected to accommodate 6 million residents, by providing $15 billion in support for its construction. Germany has introduced a substantial package of €45.8 billion in corporate tax incentives aimed at revitalizing its sluggish economy. China has initiated the large-scale production of the world's first non-binary AI chip, a groundbreaking achievement by Chinese scientists. This specialist, carbon nanotube AI chip is not only the first of its kind but also highly efficient in terms of energy consumption. XL has reported that approximately 20% of tech startups valued at over $1 billion are expected to fail.
In the United States, the border czar has warned that leading the arrest. The Economist has commented that sending the National Guard to Los Angeles is not intended to quell rioting. The New York Times has noted that President Trump is eager for a confrontation in California regarding immigration, following 2 consecutive days of immigration protests in Los Angeles. Trump has deployed the National Guard, a move that Governor Newsom has criticized as being purposefully inflammatory.
A UK
Documents from Hamas allegedly reveal significant connections and coordination with Qatar and the terror group. In other news, Israeli arms sales have set a new record for the 4th consecutive year, reaching $14.8 billion in 2024. However, Spain has decided to cancel a $325 million purchase of anti-tank missiles from Israel's Rafael. Trump claims that Los Angeles will be liberated as protests against ICE persist, while the Department of Homeland Security reports that ICE has apprehended some of the most dangerous illegal immigrants in Los Angeles, including individuals guilty of murder, sexual offenses, and other violent crimes. Trump's administration has requested Serbia, a friendly nation, to take in deportees. Furthermore, Trump has signed a travel ban affecting nationals from 12 countries, with additional restrictions on 7 more, and he mentions that Egypt is not included in the travel ban because they have things under control.
Iran has declared its exit from the sixth round of discussions with the United States, labeling the nuclear negotiations as meaningless following an Israeli airstrike. This decision comes despite former President Trump's offer of a second chance. The Israeli strikes have resulted in the deaths of several of Iran's most influential figures, including military and nuclear leaders, and have targeted over 100 locations in Iran, including nuclear sites. According to Reuters, experts indicate that the damage to Iran's nuclear facilities remains minimal. The UN Nuclear Watchdog Board has determined that Iran is not adhering to its obligations, prompting Iran to announce the establishment of a new nuclear enrichment site in response to the UN's criticism. A Chinese envoy has called on Israel to cease its risky attacks on Iran, cautioning about the serious consequences that could arise.
The National Weather Service in the United States has issued the first ever heat advisory for Alaska. A study indicates that China's Yellow River is expected to experience ice jams as a result of global warming. According to EU scientists, May was the second hottest month globally on record. Trump has redirected the focus of deportations, temporarily halting most raids on farms, hotels, and restaurants, while instructing ICE to intensify deportation efforts in cities that are strongholds for Democrats. The Washington Post notes that the United States might experience a net loss of immigrants for the first time in half a century. The Wall Street Journal reports that ICE raids have caused Latino shoppers to go into hiding, negatively impacting major brands. Trump asserts his authority in defining what America First entails, and his administration is contemplating the addition of 36 countries to the travel ban list.
Elon Musk expressed regret over some of his posts about Donald Trump, stating he had gone too far. The White House press secretary mentioned that Trump acknowledged Musk's apology. According to the New York Times, Musk had a conversation with Trump before issuing his message of regret. Trump referred to Musk as a friend who had become a bit unusual. In the United States, federal agencies were reportedly monitoring foreigners visiting Musk, concerned they might be attempting to influence him.
Rioters in Northern Ireland have set fire to homes and a refuge site. CNN has reported that the Trump administration has informed migrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela that their legal status has been terminated. A large crowd gathered for a second protest in the Netherlands, demanding government action against Israel.
Trump announces that the trade agreement with China is finalized, with tariffs established at 55%, while Chinese-supported Temu begins selling directly to the U.S. following a trade truce between Washington and Beijing. The Wall Street Journal indicates that China has imposed a 6-month restriction on the facilitation of rare earth export licenses, coinciding with Trump's statement that China will provide rare earths, and the U.S. will permit student entry. Reuters notes that the U.S.-China trade truce has not resolved the issue of rare earths intended for military use, according to sources.
The European Central Bank's Christine Lagarde has softly encouraged China to modify its current practices. An appeals court has ruled that the tariffs imposed by former President Trump can remain in place for an extended period. France has implemented a ban on influencers who promote ultra-fast fashion.
The Russian president has enacted a law that confirms an agreement for constructing a petroleum product pipeline in Congo. Germany is prioritizing rail infrastructure in its €500 billion investment initiative. Vietnam has been recognized as a partner country by BRICS, as announced by Brazil, while the United States is urging Vietnam to reduce its reliance on Chinese technology, according to sources.
The U.S. Actors Union has halted a year-long strike related to video games after reaching a preliminary agreement concerning artificial intelligence. Disney and Universal have taken legal action against Midjourney, accusing the company of creating AI-generated versions of their most iconic characters. While the number of visits to pirate websites has decreased to 216 billion annually, there is a significant rise in the piracy of manga.
Researchers in China have discovered the initial proof suggesting that artificial intelligence might possess the capability to think in a manner similar to humans. Mattel has partnered with OpenAI to assist in the creation of toys and various other products. China has taken the step of closing down AI tools during the period of nationwide college examinations.
IBM claims breakthrough in quantum error correction. The U.S. Navy supports the right to repair following a $13 billion carrier cruise experience of being half-fed due to contractor locked ovens. A U.S. judge decides that Deere must confront the FTC's antitrust lawsuit regarding repair costs.
The White House has suggested eliminating the 988 suicide hotline services specifically designed for LGBTQ youth. In Japan, there is a call for the government to adopt more pessimistic population projections due to a significant decrease in birth rates. An Air India plane crash has resulted in the deaths of at least 241 people, with only one passenger surviving. Shopify has collaborated with Coinbase and Stripe in a significant stablecoin agreement. The CEO of GameStop has stated that the company's future prospects do not lie in the gaming industry. Walmart and Amazon are currently investigating the possibility of creating their own stablecoins. Humans have observed the sun's poles for the first time. Unusual radio signals have been identified emanating from the ice in Antarctica. Experiencing several severe climate events while pregnant might have a cumulative impact on the development of a child's brain.
The U.S. Justice Department has stated that Donald Trump has the authority to revoke the status of national monuments that safeguard natural landscapes. Trump has declared his intention to revert the names of several military bases to their original titles, which were altered during Joe Biden's presidency. Furthermore, the Grammy Awards have introduced a new category called Best Traditional Country Album, following Beyoncé's recent win.
YouTube aims to safeguard free speech by reducing its content moderation efforts. A source indicates that the Washington Post is conducting an investigation into a cyber attack targeting journalists' email accounts. Meta's Llama 3.1 has the capability to remember 42% of the content from the first Harry Potter book. Whole Foods has issued a warning about potential product shortages following a cyber attack on its main distributor, UNFI. The United Nations has raised concerns that terrorists might exploit driverless cars to create deadly weapons known as slaughterbots. Citizen Lab has discovered that spyware developed by a US-backed Israeli company has been used to target journalists in Europe.
The UK regulatory body is conducting an investigation into potential violations of online safety standards on platforms such as 4chan and others. The UK government is set to launch a national investigation into organised child sexual abuse, following significant pressure from Elon Musk. In France, a group of drivers has initiated a lawsuit against Tesla, citing Elon Musk's right-wing political views as the reason for their legal action. The World Bank has decided to remove its restriction on providing financial support for nuclear energy projects, which is expected to give a significant boost to the nuclear energy industry. The World Bank has indicated that the 2020s are projected to be the most economically challenging decade globally since the 1960s. The United Nations is urging for more rapid and decisive action to combat child labor, as the world is currently on track to fall short of the target to eliminate this practice by the year 2025. Trump announces plans to phase out FEMA post-hurricane season, believing governors can manage disasters. In the United States, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, is taking steps to eliminate restrictions on greenhouse gas emissions from power plants. The Trump administration has decided to withdraw from an agreement with Northwest tribes aimed at restoring salmon populations. The United States is reassessing the AUKUS agreement to align it with the America First policy, which an expert suggests is a strategy to maximize financial gains from its allies. China's nuclear arsenal is rapidly increasing, and by 2030, its intercontinental ballistic missiles might reach the numbers of those possessed by the United States and Russia, according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI. Researchers have also cautioned that the global expansion of nuclear weapons is primarily being driven by the US and Russia. Saab has made history by testing an AI-powered combat capability on its Gripen jets. Axios has reported that Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has requested the United States to facilitate negotiations between Israel and Syria. In the context of Israel's Operation Rising Lion, former U.S. President Donald Trump has refuted any involvement of the United States, while Iran asserts it possesses solid proof of American backing. U.S. officials have disclosed that Trump vetoed an Israeli plan to assassinate Iran's supreme leader. Trump has also suggested that Iran and Israel should fight it out to achieve a resolution. Axios further reports that Israel's strike on Iran was planned over an 8-month period. Elon Musk has announced the activation of Starlink in Tehran after the Iranian regime disconnected citizens from the internet during Israeli strikes. The United States is also working to restore VOA's Persian service amid the ongoing Iran-Israel conflict.
The Fulbright board has stepped down following allegations of political interference by aides to former President Trump. In the United States, the Congressional Budget Office, CBO, has indicated that the GOP tax bill would impose an annual cost of $1,600 on low-income Americans while increasing the earnings of the highest earners by $12,000. President Trump has disclosed an income exceeding $600 million, derived from cryptocurrency, golf, and licensing fees, including a $57 million profit from his involvement with the crypto venture World Liberty Financial.
In the United States, fraudulent individuals are employing artificial intelligence to register fictitious students in virtual courses, subsequently pilfering financial assistance. El Pius observes that counterfeit bands and synthetic music are increasingly dominating platforms like YouTube and Spotify. Wikipedia has temporarily halted the creation of AI-generated summaries following criticism from its editors.
Macron extends assistance for Greenland security in response to Trump's threats, while Hegseth mentions that the Pentagon has prepared plans for a potential invasion of Greenland if required. The Norwegian monarch has made a visit to the polar region of Svalbard, reflecting an increasing interest in the Arctic. Furthermore, Canada plans to intensify its mining efforts due to rising geopolitical tensions, as stated by former Minister Bill Morneau.
In a recent phone conversation, Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump engaged in discussions about the ongoing tensions in the Middle East and the conflict in Ukraine. French President Emmanuel Macron has dismissed Trump's suggestion that Putin could act as a mediator in the Israel-Iran crisis. Trump has affirmed that the United States will continue to back Israeli airstrikes. Following attacks on Tel Aviv and Haifa by Iran, Israel has warned that residents of Tehran will face consequences. These attacks have resulted in the deaths of 8 people and injuries to dozens more.
Iran asserts that Pakistan would retaliate with nuclear weapons against Israel if the latter were to use nuclear force against Pakistan. The United States has informed Israel that it will not engage in any Israeli military action targeting Iran. Furthermore, for days prior, former President research indicates that prohibiting plastic bags effectively reduces litter on shorelines. The rise in global temperatures is contributing to a significant surge in cases of obstructive sleep apnea. Satellites from the European Space Agency have successfully produced the first artificial total solar eclipse in the vastness of space. Chinese film studios are set to create AI-driven remakes of iconic kung fu movies featuring legendary actors. Mark Zuckerberg is spearheading an aggressive AI talent acquisition campaign, offering substantial $100 million compensation packages. In a related development, Sam Altman revealed that Meta extended $100 million bonuses to employees at OpenAI. Despite these advancements, AI has shown minimal influence on the overall well-being of workers, even though there are self-reported concerns about job satisfaction.
A recent study indicates that trust in artificial intelligence is most prevalent in China and low-income countries. Creators have expressed surprise at the revelation that Google utilizes YouTube content to train its AI systems. Furthermore, research suggests that social media has become the primary source of news for people in the United States.
Coal from its energy mix. A recent study indicates that the swift decline in cloud cover is playing a role in the occurrence of unprecedentedly high temperatures.
The Russian leader has asserted that several nations are ready to supply Iran with nuclear weapons after the United States launched strikes. 5 days prior, Russia cautioned the U.S. against attacking Iran, highlighting the potential for a nuclear disaster. In the United States, officials have admitted their uncertainty regarding the current status of Iran's uranium reserves. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has stated that Israel is nearing its objectives in Iran, as the U.S. becomes more involved in the conflict between Israel and Iran by targeting 3 Iranian nuclear facilities.
In the United States, the number of abortions continued to increase in 2024, largely due to the availability of telehealth prescriptions, according to a recent report. In the United Kingdom, members of parliament have supported an assisted dying bill in a significant vote held in the House of Commons. The Supreme Court has upheld a law that prohibits gender-affirming care for minors, marking a setback for transgender rights, as it also approved a Tennessee ban on such care for children.
Texas has discreetly halted funding for its state border wall project, which is only 8% completed. Trump's border security official has stated that immigration enforcement actions at farms and hotels will persist. Children are engaging in conflicts during anti-ICE protests and raids within the virtual world of Roblox. The governor of Texas has signed a law that prohibits individuals from China from purchasing real estate within the state. Former President Trump has expressed the opinion that the United States has an excessive number of holidays where people do not work, specifically mentioning Juneteenth. Whoopi Goldberg has made a statement comparing the challenges faced by Black Americans to those experienced by people in Iran.
Iran is allegedly taking steps to shut down the Strait of Hormuz following U.S. military actions. According to Axios, senior Democrats were kept uninformed about the plans for the strike on Iran. Hegseth mentioned that congressional leaders were briefed on the U.S. attack on Iran only after the aircraft had safely returned. Sources indicate that Trump's strikes on Iran were based on intuition rather than concrete intelligence, as U.S. spy agencies evaluate that Iran has not yet made a decision regarding the development of a nuclear bomb.
J.D. Vance asserts that the United States is engaged in conflict with Iran's nuclear ambitions rather than Iran itself, and he emphasizes that the U.S. has no interest in deploying ground troops in Iran. Vance also cautions against any retaliatory actions by Iran, while Donald Trump advocates for regime change to make Iran great again. The U.S. urges China to stop Iran from blocking the Strait of Hormuz, which could severely disrupt global oil supplies. Marco Rubio indicates that the U.S. is prepared to engage in discussions with Iran following recent strikes, but he strongly advises against Iran closing the Strait of Hormuz, describing it as a suicidal move.
U.S. military actions against Iran's nuclear sites have prompted promises of retaliation from Hamas and the Houthis, while global leaders respond. It is reported that Iran's supreme leader, Khamenei, has selected 3 possible successors as he remains concealed in a bunker. The United States has imposed sanctions on individuals and entities supplying Iran with defense equipment and facilitating Houthi oil trade.
Harvard employed a researcher to investigate its connections to slavery. He claims the findings led to his dismissal. We discovered an excessive number of slaves. The New York Post indicates that Pelosi earned millions last year, with her investment portfolio surpassing the performance of every major hedge fund, achieving remarkable returns. Recent trademark filings hint that Trump might be planning to introduce a wireless phone brand, as the Trump Organization reveals a mobile plan and a $499 smartphone.
The United States Supreme Court has affirmed a law that permits legal action against Palestinian authorities in connection with attacks. Israeli officials have issued a warning that Iran is allegedly taking control of security cameras to conduct espionage activities. El Al Airlines has announced plans to commence rescue flights departing from Israel beginning on Monday, following the receipt of 25,000 applications.
Attorneys representing drug traffickers and individuals accused of sexual abuse are on the verge of being appointed as judges in Mexico, as highlighted in a report 3 weeks ago titled "An Ex-Convict and Cartel Lawyers Are Among Mexico's Judicial Candidates." Additionally, the U.S. Treasury has imposed sanctions on leaders of the Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generation under counterterrorism measures. Furthermore, cybercriminals have infiltrated Aflac, continuing their hacking